Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate. Dear viewers everywhere, today we are going to have a new program. It's how to teach Quran effectively. I wish that from the very beginning, I know that all of us have some background about this issue because either we have been taught Quran in a specific way or we have taught Quran ourselves. So there will be some two actions to be done: to undo the previous experience and to build up a new experience. When we talk, first of all, when we talk about teaching Quran effectively, what do we mean by teaching Quran? Is it recitation? Is it memorization? Is it reading? Is it understanding? Read, okay. Do you think that Jibreel alayhi salam came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he knew that he doesn't know how to read and he asked him to read? Did he give him a paper to read? So why do we translate it as read? Because someone in the past translated it as read and all of us follow blindly. Yes, this is what happens in most of it. For me, I think that he asked him to recite, to say what he memorized. And he said that I'm not reciter, I don't memorize anything. So now I think you can go everywhere and correct this message. Okay? So it's not read because there was no text. And Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was illiterate. He didn't know how to read, right, or write. Okay. So this is the first thing. So one level of learning Quran is to memorize it, to recite what you have learned, what you have memorized. Okay, this is one level. So we can call it recitation or memorization. Is this clear? Okay. Another level of learning Quran is reading, the actual reading, which was not meant by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to say iqra. The actual reading. You give somebody a text of the Quran and you ask him to read. Right? So now I'm reading. I don't memorize it, but I'm reading it. There's a difference between the two, right? One is you already memorized it and you are saying it, you are reciting it. The other level is that you are reading it, deciphering the letters that you have in front of you. Another level is
understanding.
Very good. Now we have three levels. We can add more, Allahu A'lam, but that's what I have. So recitation, memorization, and then reading, actual reading, and then understanding. Which is better? I need a good answer. Which one is better? Which one should we start with? Okay. The answer is? Reading. We're repeating the same thing.
If you read, you will be able to understand and memorize.
If I read, I will be able to understand?
Yes, what I'm reading, and then memorize it as well.
I can read without understanding. It depends. It depends on the age, the context, the situation. And we will give plenty of examples now. For example, a child who is 3 years old, what is the best for him? Is it what's the best, the easiest for the child of 3 years old, or even less than 3 years old? Which one? Understanding, recitation, or reading?
Memorization.
Memorization. Who agrees? Raise your hand. Who doesn't agree? Sir, tell me why. Kids don't understand the concept of makharij. Any sound in the world is easy for the child. Whether it's Arabic or Russian or Turkish, children don't know. Their muscles are so fresh, are so tender, they can form them very quickly. So the concept of makharij for children is not there. They can do anything. They can imitate any sound, any letter. So which is easier for a kid for 3 years old? What should we teach him? Understanding or reading or recitation? Recitation. Do we agree? Good. Do we really do this at school? What is happening at school? Let's say 4 years old even. What's happening at school? What do you teach them? I think most of the school would teach them reading. The problem of reading is so complex. When you read the Quran, it's so complicated. It's not as easy as you imagine. There are many elements when they read, right? If they can learn without reading, Why do we want them to read? Question, at the early stage, why do we want them to read if they can memorize? If a child, by any means, he could memorize the whole Qur'an without reading it. Let's assume this. You know that some of the companions, the Prophet ﷺ used to read which surah on Friday?
Surah Al-Ala.
No, I'm not talking about the salah. I'm talking in the khutbah. Huh? Qaf. The Prophet ﷺ used to come on Friday and doesn't give the speech. And instead of giving the speech, he would recite Surah Qaf. Did you know that? I hope you know this. So when an imam comes to the member and recites Surah Qaf and begins the salat, don't think that he's making a bid'ah, right? I made it a couple of times and people were shocked. Yes, but I made an introduction before that. So one companion said that, Wallahi, I memorized Surah Qaf from the Prophet ﷺ because he used to recite it frequently on Fridays. So based on this, assume that somebody can memorize the Qur'an without reading it, right? And many cases like blind people. We had Sheikh Kishk in Egypt. We had many people who are blind. They can memorize just by listening. Do you agree? Can they? Yes, you can close your eyes and you repeat. You don't need your eyes to be open to memorize something. Okay? Right. This is much, much easier than when I teach a child to read. Why is that? What is the level of difficulty when we show someone a text to read? Tell me, what are the difficulties from the viewpoint of a learner, not as a teacher now? What does the child see? I said that you cannot be a good teacher unless you think as a child, as a student. What does the child see? We made one time a study about this. We found at least 32 types of difficulties the child sees in front of him. In Surah, for example, Al-Fatiha. What is that? Give me some examples. What are the difficulties when you learn Al-Fatiha and you don't know Arabic? What is the difficulty?
Recognition of the letters.
Yes, the recognition of the letter. One level is recognition of the letter. What else? We need to go deeper and deeper.
When the letters are being joined, they are not able to read.
Absolutely. The letters in Arabic, yes. When they are isolated, they look differently than when they are connected. Another difficulty. Very good. 2 difficulties. What else? You need to think of. We're not going to reach 32, but tell me something. There are some signs that have nothing to do with Arabic. They had been made by scholars, right? They were not revealed by Jibreel in writing, right? And the scholar said that Saad or Sin or Qaf or Qili, right, or Sali, these signs have nothing to do with the Qur'an in writing. It's something that's added to it to show that the Prophet ﷺ stopped here or continued here, right? So this is something addition to explain to you that the Prophet ﷺ continued or stopped, like Sali, Qili, Jim, right? What else?
Fatah, Damma, Qasr.
Oh yes?
The
vowel system.
The vowels.
Did you know that Arabic was written at a certain time? If I was supposed to give this class, let's say 1300 years ago, the Mus'haf that was available at that time, it did not look like this. It didn't have any vowel. The vowel system was added later. Do you understand what I'm saying? Not only that, the dot system. The dots were not available in the past. And sometimes, by the way, one of the exercises I do with the students, yes, I erase all the dots and I ask them to read. And this, when you reach a specific level in the language, you can do this, of course. So, but this is a high level of challenging. Okay, what else? What are the difficulties?
Basically, he needs the text before him. He needs to sit.
Oh, yeah.
So the
course.
effort and focus is more.
The text is in front of you. What difficulty you see? We will continue this. We'll take a break, come back, and we'll continue our discussion. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome back. After the break, we were discussing some of the difficulties that a learner sees when he or she learns how to read Qur'an. So we mentioned a few of them. Can we continue doing this? Tell me something about Indian. Does it go from right to left or left to right? because ours, right, go from right to left. If the child, right, learns how to read from left to right, he needs to change his mindset. This is another difficulty for the child. Okay, and that's why when you read and the child uses their fingers, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, their fingers will be under Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Yeah, because they don't know how to. Anyway, so this is another difficulty. Very good. What else?
Some letters look similar.
Yes.
And it just had little distinction.
Yes, similarity between letters. Ba, ta, sa. The only difference is the dots. And this takes longer time to, I think most of the Arabs, used to have problem with the P and the B, right? So they want to express them. Said, is it the P with one stomach or the B with two stomachs? When you write the B, right, it has two stomachs. So the Arabs measure things by their stomachs. Anyway, so whereas the P has one stomach only, right? Okay, because they didn't know how to pronounce the P, right? And that's why they say Pakistan instead of Pakistan, right? So and so on and so forth. Okay. What else? You didn't go deeper yet, Should I say something? And when you read here, you don't just see the Arabic. You see some tajweed rules written. You find a letter at the end of the line, you find M, because when you pronounce the next word, you are going to use the M instead of the N. So there are some tajweed rules or signs are written. So we're not just teaching him Arabic, we're teaching him some tajweed rules. What else?
When you read it, it's like Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. I mean, there's an extra, the fatha there.
There is a fatha, but you don't pronounce it.
That's right. So it's very...
You put something and you don't pronounce it because you made a pause. If you continue, right, you will read it. So another difficulty. Very good. This is really very good. What else? Are you telling me that you don't read Qur'an well? What else?
The sounds are very unfamiliar.
Yes, there are some sounds are unfamiliar to you. It's not your native language. So now you want to read and learn the sounds at the same time. Okay, what else?
Sounds being unfamiliar, I didn't get this point. Can you explain, Sheikh?
In your language, you don't have ayn. Do you have ayn? Do you have this sound? You don't have it. There are some sounds in Arabic and in many languages that are not available in your native language. So this is a level of difficulty. What else? You need to think. There are some decorative things in the Quran, just for the sake of decoration. You said Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So you'd find long line on the word. And we ask the people, why is this? They say just to fill the space. So it's fatha, but they make it long just for the sake of decoration. It has nothing to do, right, with the Quran. It has nothing to do with Arabic, just for decoration. And most of the letters are written artistically. And some of the letters, right, are written because in Arabic, if you don't know how Arabic is written, in Arabic, one feature of Arabic, by the way, is that you can write letters above each other. Yeah. In English, can you write two letters above each other? No. In Arabic, you can write lam above mim. In the same place, lam above mim, right? Can you write three letters in Arabic above each other? Yes, you can. Yes. Ta, ha, jim. Ta, ha, ja. So the ha can be above the jim exactly, and the ta can be above them. So in one place, you can write three letters above each other. And the child has to decipher all these things. He would say, what are those crazy people doing? This is how the child thinks. Lots of difficulties. The teacher, every time he comes across something, he has to explain that. See the amount of difficulties that the child confronts from the beginning. And even some teachers try to make it easy for them. So before the students come to learn Qur'an, they would give them a book whether it's called Baghdadiya or whatever they call it, Qa'ida al-Baghdadiya, Babi, Bu, Tati, Tu, you know it, okay? So now they are adding more difficulty to the difficulties. Okay, what else do you think that there are some difficulties here? Some letters are written and are not pronounced, such as al-Shamsiyya, ash-Shams. You write alif lam mim, alif lam shin, and you pronounce it ash-Shams. You don't pronounce the lam. Okay? There are other things that the students want to know, right? Like the shadda. It's not part of the alphabet. The shadda is not part of the alphabet. So there's another difficulty. Okay, what is that? The child all the time asks, what's this? What's that? Okay, what else? Silence? Okay, now you see the level of difficulty. So now you have to make the balance. Is it to teach the child something to memorize, or something to read from the beginning, right? Or something to understand, even if they don't read. They memorize and understand. So you have to make the balance. The choices are too many now. Then if you ask yourself, what is the benefit of a person who can read the whole Qur'an without understanding? And this is what's happening, by the way, in many places. And the teachers of Arabic and Qur'an in America, under the pressure of the parents who forced them, said, listen, we want our kids to read the Qur'an. And the teachers, right, are afraid to lose their jobs. So they said, okay, we'll do our best to do this. Although they are convinced that this is not helpful for the children. And the parents are very tough. They say, listen, if you don't do this, I will take my money. I will not donate to the school. And all the schools there work on donations. It's a very terrible situation. They bring their cultures from somewhere in the world. I'm not saying India. I'm not saying Pakistan. Yes, but this is exactly what's happening. People have very good attitudes towards the Qur'an. However, they don't know how to do it. And all the time we give the example of the bird that loved its friend. You know what it do? The friend was sleeping and there was a fly coming on it, and every time it was confusing it, right? And then the bird, to solve the problem, brought a huge piece of stone and it threw it on the fly. And what happened is the fly ran away and the friend died. Love is not all the time good, by the way. So loving the Qur'an is something, but trying to do, what is the benefit of knowing how to read these 600 pages and you don't understand it? In fact, the Qur'an said something against this 100%. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, مَثَلُ الَّذِينَ حُمِّلُوا التَّوْرَاةَ ثُمَّ لَمْ يَحْمِلُوهَا كَمَثَلِ الْحِمَارِ يَحْمِلُ أَسْفَارًا. The likeness of the people who are asked to carry and benefit from the Torah, and they don't benefit from it, are like donkeys who carry books. Do they benefit from it? A donkey is carrying the most precious book in the world, perhaps the Qur'an on its back. Does it benefit from it? This is exactly what's happening. Yes, Allah will reward those who recite the Qur'an even if they don't understand the meaning. Yes, Allah is so generous. But these rewards, you're going to get them in the day of judgment, not in this life. So if you read without understanding, it doesn't benefit you. In fact, you may be contradicting yourself. You may be reciting something and doing something against. You see the danger of spending too much time on teaching reading. Okay, the last option is, we said, understanding, right? Okay, understanding. Good. When you focus on understanding, there are some problems. Tell me, such as what? The problem of the age of the students. Children, 3 years old, and you teach them, right, the concept of قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد. النفاثات في العقد. Can anybody explain this to me?
From the evil of those who blow on knots.
Blow the knots. What is blowing the knot? your child will ask you, what is, Mom, what's blowing the knot? What is that? Some sort of magic, right? Witchcrafting? We're going to do some magic today, by the way. Yeah, don't be scared. Yeah.
From the evil of the witchcraft.
Yeah, witchcraft, but the word does not mean witchcraft. The word means blowing the knots. What is blowing the knots? You have to explain the culture. You have to bring some videos to tell them that the witchcrafters are doing this thing, right, in order to implement their witchcrafting. So this is one act, and it takes different forms, and this form maybe in India is like that, and in China may be like that. You have to, it's a whole concept. It's very difficult for the child to understand. Okay, now, do you understand the problem that we have? The complexity of the teaching the Quran. Of course, okay. Now, what is the solution for this? I want you to think of this.
Sheikh.
Yes?
What should be the age of the students when we can start teaching them understanding, the recitation, or the memorization? The ideal age?
I one time suggested to one of the ministries of religious affairs somewhere in the world, I'm not going to mention it, a project that we need to get something like a encyclopedia of methods of teaching Quran. We don't have this. Quran has been taught for the last 1400 years, but we don't have a encyclopedia to tell us that this is method A, method B, method X, method Y, because I'm quite sure that all those people who teach the Quran, they have their own method. And one method definitely is better than others in a specific context. So if we know this, if this is documented, and now we can enter them in the internet or on a database, right? I can enter the context. I have a situation that I have 5 children, they study twice a week, their ages are such a language, which method is best for them, and the computer would tell me it's method number 20. So instead of me experimenting with the people, I would go and would get method number 20 and to apply, to benefit from the experiences of others. I hope, inshallah, sometime one person or one government would be able to make this project. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Little baby, pure and small, He created you, He created us all. Hush, little baby, don't you fear, we're never alone when Allah's so near. Hush, little baby, breathing so calm.